Hey y'all. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the self-improvement books that I've been reading for those of you all who want to change, because I know it's some stuff going on, it's something in the air, and life is getting real crazy and stuff, so we need to keep ourselves psychologically intact. Okay? So my self-improvement journey started because I went through a period of time where I did want to I wanted to change. I was going through some things and I just had to find myself and learn more about myself and, love myself again, prevent from being in certain situations or, learning how to end certain situations, whatnot, all of that good stuff. And these books have helped me along in my journey. What really inspired me to start reading the books was, me listening to Love Dorsey. I love Dorsey, and yes, I am one of those. Because I know some guys be like, "Oh my gosh, you listen to Love Dorsey?" Yeah, I'm one of them. Okay, but okay. So I'm gonna start off with the first book. Here is Emotional Intelligence 2.0. This book was written by Dr. Travis Bradbury and Dr. Jean Greaves. If I mess up somebody's name, please just excuse me. And let me just give you a definition, because I know some people don't know what emotional intelligence is when I talk about it. But emotional intelligence is the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. Emotional intelligence is the key to both personal and professional success. And there are 4 parts to emotional intelligence. So the personal competence part, what I see is self-awareness. What I do is self-management. With social competence, you have what I see is social awareness. And what you do is relationship management. And it just gives you different strategies that you can do to improve these. And it also has a test that you can take online, and it gives you a code for you to be able to log in without having to pay to take the test. And you're supposed to take the test before you start reading and going through the strategies, and then afterwards to see if your score has improved. So this was very interesting to start off with. And actually, this is great because emotional intelligence is the key to, making sure that you're psychologically stable and that we're living in a realistic world, and not, like one of you people out here who be living in la la land, fantasy world and shit. So the second book that I like was Set Boundaries and Find Peace, A Guide to Reclaiming Yourself by Nidra Glover Tawwab. I think that's how you pronounce her name. But this book is amazing because there are so many people who make videos and stuff, and you hear about boundaries, but you going about and getting more detail and in-depth information on the boundaries, or exactly understanding what they are, and learning to communicate them, setting them, and dealing with the aftermath of boundaries, because you have different people who are not going to respect them when you state them. They might question. You might feel like, oh, you feel like you owe them an explanation or something, which you don't. You should not be explaining, why, because all they're going to do is try to talk you out of it. So this is a good book. I'm still reading this book, but I will, of course, be talking about that one also. And I have The Practice of Groundedness by Brad Stolberg, a transformative path to success that feeds, not crushes your soul. This piece of literature right here is amazing. I would say it makes you I would say it makes you peaceful, confident in whatever goals you're trying to succeed, or if you just need to calm down. Like, some people have the potential to do great things, or you have certain goals that you want to achieve and you don't really know the steps on how to go about it, or we want like instant gratification all the time. So this teaches you the steps that it takes to bring you back down to reality, keep you humble, and having a sturdy foundation. You know, like a tree, like we're all trees, and we want to be a grounded, stable tree. We don't want the roots coming up different places, the tree falling over, like somebody coming and chop it down, you know, like, okay. So the next book that I'm going to be okay, so anyways, okay, scratch that because I forgot some pieces I just looked on here. For groundedness, the concepts were acceptance, being present, be patient, embrace vulnerability, building deep community, and movement, like, you know, moving your body. That helps with people when you go through stressful situations, because even when I talk to people who like went through divorces and stuff, just because some people just like to talk to you about stuff like that when you just be in conversation and they tell you about the things that they do. I noticed they use a lot of these concepts of groundedness to find themselves again and get yourselves back on a healthy track mentally and emotionally. And the next book that I am going to talk about is 8 Days. Okay, so 8 Days is a good book. I'm still reading this book. I read like a few different books at the same time just because that's just how my brain operates. And yes, I do stop and do the exercises. I write stuff down, and I feel like they all, in a sense, relate to each other. So I think it just works well for me and my brain, because it just, my mind goes everywhere sometimes. So bear with me. But anyways, 8 Days is about conversations that you should have about the important concepts that are, you know, like building blocks for having a healthy relationship. And also, it goes over a case study that they did. I believe it was over like a decade or so. It was hundreds of couples that they did this case study on, with these different concepts that it teaches you that you should talk about or be aware about with your partner to have longevity in a relationship. So it goes over some of the different couples who they interviewed and had on these certain dates to have these conversations and stuff. And, you know, it tells you whether their relationships even like worked out because of issues in with certain concepts. So it was very, very informative, and I learned a lot because, you know, nowadays a lot of people don't date, or we don't know exactly how to date and what conversations we should be talking about. So I feel like it's very beneficial and, you know, inspiring for people who do want to be in a relationship, but you feel like you need to work on yourself a little bit more, which all of these are for that. For us being healthy individuals, because men and women be having problems. We all have issues. One is not better than the other. One is not smarter than the other. We all have, you know, our strengths and weaknesses. So that was a little piece of hair that was flying around. So the last book is a workbook. It's the Self-Love Workbook, a life-changing guide to boost self-esteem, recognize your worth, and find genuine happiness, by Shayna Ali. We just gonna say Shayna Ali because I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce her name. But anyways, this is the book, and it is a workbook. It has different exercises to help you learn about yourself and basically increase your self-esteem. It The book is actually pretty good because it gives a detailed, like, this is chapter one, and chapter one was on self-love, so it gives you detailed explanations about each of the concepts, and then you can complete the exercises that it has in there. So you get to learn more about yourself, and you get to increase yourself and see things that you need to work on, and problems within yourself to keep yourself on track and building self-esteem, because a lot of people nowadays have self-esteem issues, but it takes a lot to admit that you have issues and that you want to improve yourself. Because for me, it hurt to actually realize, once I started increasing my self-awareness and I learned about my own habits and holding myself accountable for allowing myself to be in different situations and relationships and stuff, like, it hurts when you have to actually face the decisions that you were making, the reasons for those decisions, and all of the chaos that may have transpired, my role in toxicity, my weaknesses, areas that I need to improve in. It hurts. It hurts to know that even, like, still meeting people, some relationships just aren't going to work out. And I've become better with distinguishing people and being able to just, end things when they need to be ended. Because sometimes, like, there's just nothing you can do. And I would like to just say the main thing that I learned on my self-improvement journey about myself that really helped me is to, like, just accept people. Well, I wouldn't actually say accept, because I really don't have to accept you, but I mean to see people for who they are and what they do, and not how I want them to be or what I want them to do. Because I had the mindset where I would sit back and just think, like, gosh, why so and so got to be like this? If only people would just be nice and things can go easy. And, like, you can't think that way. The world out here is tough. It's dangerous. Like, people are dangerous. People will play with you. They will manipulate you. They want to control you. Some people want to tear you down psychologically. I mean, some people want to tear you down physically too. But it's up to us to hold ourselves accountable for our relationships, our situations, and the roles that we've played. Because I mean, I can go ahead and tell you that I was not innocent, and I'm not a victim. Because that was another thing. If you sit and watch some of these people on social media platforms, some of them will have you sitting back like, oh, pity you're sad, and this person did all this stuff to you, and they give you all this information about, like, narcissists and stuff, and like, oh, I've been abused by a narcissist, I've gone through narcissistic abuse, I'm a victim. Like, you are not a victim. You have to hold yourself accountable, which it does hurt to know that you did have a choice. You decided to go along with it. You decided to get manipulated. You allowed for it to go on, even though we might have had bad feelings about things that we went through. Like, at the end of the day, I did it. Like, I didn't have to. Nobody held a gun up to my head and say, oh, you have to do this. Like, you have to have a strong sense of self, and just being able to manage your emotions better, to be able to get out of situations or prevent them from coming. Once those signs start coming up, like, you got to be ready to go. Like, don't let these people play with you. You're not anything to play with. You should cherish yourself and value yourself. Think that you are special, intelligent. Like, it doesn't matter what background you come from. Because a lot of people would try to say that certain people from certain backgrounds have higher emotional intelligence. It's not necessarily true, because a lot of people have a lack of self-awareness. But you'll notice once you start reading these books and stuff, you're going to notice things about the people around you, whether it's your family members, your partner you're in a relationship with, your children, like mother, father. You're gonna notice things about people, and it might scare you once you start seeing people and their personality traits and stuff. Like you will definitely have to take a step back, and I promise you're not gonna want to be trying to fix people anymore. Like, I had to realize they are the way that they are, and that's how they're going to be, regardless of how I feel, how much I talk to them. Like, those actions say enough. We don't even need words, because somebody will tell you something all day, but actually doing and seeing what they're going to do and what they're doing, if it doesn't match up with their actions, then it's BS. Basic concepts. If somebody's trying to cause a lot of confusion about certain situations and stuff, it's BS. Don't sit and let them talk you into something. Don't say, oh, well, we could just talk about it. You don't need to talk about it. If you're confused, it's a problem. Some people will intentionally trying to confuse you. If you have to keep asking questions about your relationship with a person or where you stand and stuff, like, shit, you stand alone. That's basic. Stop trying to force stuff. Don't live in a fantasy world. Don't let people be out here feeding you dreams and fantasies, making promises and stuff that they know that they cannot live up to, or trying to tell you that they are somebody who they have shown you that they're not. Do not sit and try to have a conversation about it. The world is dangerous. It is a dangerous place. Everyone is not good. Some people might not be aware of it, but that is not your job to take on somebody else's emotional problems and traumas. You need to work on your own and build yourself and keep moving forward. Stop wasting your time.